welcome all. A grand welcome to all of you today on Mahadrashta session for the English sessions. Today we have got a esteemed speaker. Uh, I'll just introduce him very briefly. His name is G. Srinivas Reddy, sir. So, sir, we welcome you on Mahadrashta and Swadhyaya Yoga team. He is the founder of Swadhyaya Yoga, and he is also a new age teacher. He is uh, he is also a very voracious reader of so many books. He has read so many books, and he has translated nearly 60 plus English books to Telugu since the last 10 years. And sir, he's also been in PSSM from uh, actually 1995. His journey starts with as soon as he met Patri sir. His journey started on this books and all the wisdom that he has collected by reading all these books. He has taken so many sessions on the same thing, and he usually shares all the wisdom that he reads. And today we are going to hear him on holistic living. Yesterday also we had the same holistic living subject. It was by Parinita Patri, and today also Reddy sir is going to speak on this book. So sir, a grand welcome to you. I would like to add, he is the son-in-law of Brahmarshi Subhash Patri ji. So sir, please welcome, and you are most welcome, and please I request you to start your session. Thank you so much, sir.
Nivas, presently from Hyderabad. So actually, I am not the founder of Swaja Yoga. Patriji, he really conceptualized he coined that word, Swaja Yoga. And he's the actual founder of Swaja Yoga. So his intention was like in the year 2006 or 9, I think. He coined that word. Initially, he told me to take classes on the banner of Jnana Yoga, but over time, he emphasized, like, he changed that Jnana Yoga to Swajya Yoga. So he prepared a very beautiful pamphlet for me to take classes on the Swajya Yoga. So I started taking classes on the banner of Swajya Yoga, initially to promote Tarkam Saradian's literature. But parallelly, I was like, there are so many great spiritual authors and spiritual scientists throughout the world. Uh, we can't really count, like, because there are so many individuals, there are so many organizations where every individual has so much to learn from everybody that is there. So in my journey, along with all masters, like reading Celestine, James Whitfield, Celestine Prophecy, or Neil Donald Walsh, or Osho Rajneesh, Tarkam Saradarian, seeing my entire 25 years of reading time, uh, I really don't know how I could read all this. Like, even now, from day one, I, I read everything, like written by Dr. Deepak Chopra also, starting from Ageless Body, Timeless Mind to still awaiting. There is a special book is going to be released on this month, 22nd of this month, a title on Total Meditation by Deepak Chopra is going to be released on this month, 22nd. So I'm even eagerly waiting to read that version from him. Uh, and I read all the books, whatever he wrote. I have been a curious reader or a follower of Deepak Chopra also. So out of all his books, which really touched my journey or learned so many things, one of the most important contribution by Deepak Chopra, especially to me, which I always was like, relating to that book. Uh, that book is the Book of Secrets. The Book of Secrets by Deepak Chopra, unlocking the hidden dimensions of your life. So this book is like a embodiment of 15 principles where he distilled everything, all a crystalline distillation of insights and wisdom accumulated over the lifetime of a one of a great spiritual thinker. uh, there are absolutely 15 things which Deepak Chopra presented in this book, the Book of Secrets, unlocking the hidden dimensions of your life. It's a really a fantastic book with beautiful 15 insights. And I decided to discuss this book with all the masters today. So my pick of the day will be like Book of Secrets, unlocking the hidden dimensions, hidden dimensions of your life by Deepak Chopra. Is such an practical, very insightful book. So hope these 15 things will be discussing today, the 15 principles which are the part of the book. Uh, let's start the session. Uh, so this book, the Book of Secrets by Deepak Chopra, he says the deeper hunger in life is a secret that is revealed only when a person is willing to unlock the hidden part of the self. So he initially says, like, people needs to go inside, uh, know their hidden part. So the real secrets are there inside. That is what he says. Finding the hidden dimensions in yourself is the only way to fulfill the deepest hunger. So people are already started looking inside through meditation or whatever way people call it as. They can call it as on any name, but going inside is a real uh, possibility where people can know there are so many things inside, and how to know the hidden things and understand our lives more authentically and practically. So this book is about that. So the first thing, the first principle or the first secret he shares is the mystery of life is real. uh, Always the mystery is try to solve the mystery of life externally, but that will never give any kind of solution. So the mystery of life is real, so people have to understand a certain things to resolve that mystery. If anything which is puzzling you, anything which is mysterious to you, all those mysteries are real. So to really solve those mysteries or unlock those mysteries, as everybody knows, like, every time we go out from our respective homes, we lock it and go, and we never give that lock to everybody. If you give that lock to everybody, anyone can come into your home. So people should know, like, how really we need to unlock and go inside and resolve the mysteries which we think that they are real. All mysteries, people should know that every mystery can be resolved once people can go inside. So in this first chapter he gives like totally of 10 points, like, in the mystery of life is real, the wisdom you are already living. The first point is you have a higher purpose. This is what every individual should understand. People should not always see the external purpose and miss the entire life. So the first point, to understand the mystery of life is real, we need to take up a point called we have a higher purpose to be connected with. And the second thing is you are in communion with the whole of life. So why people can't resolve their mysteries of life is because they always do the partial communication with some part of life and they leave the other parts which people are generally unaware of. So the third point is your awareness is always open to change from moment to moment. It senses everything in your environment. So the point is you want to resolve the mystery of life, taking into consideration if it is real, then we need to think of the awareness state one has in his life. And these 4, 5, 6, 7 points you can go through. So all these things will help you to resolve a mystery called life, which is real. So this is the first secret. Deepak Chopra ji, he discusses the first secret is mystery of life is can be resolved if you think it is real and if you can really understand these things. The first secret is to let your body's wisdom point the way. So the mystery, the real mystery of life is there in your physical body. And if at all you can really understand, the first secret is to how much you really understand your body, how much you can feel the body, how much you can sense the body, and how you talk to your body and how the body speaks to you. So this is what people should really cultivate and tame to really know the secrets of one's life. So every secret in this book goes to the existence of an invisible intelligence that operates beneath the visible surface of life. So the first thing is very clear. Deepak Chopra ji says, like, your secret is there in your body's wisdom. So body speaks. You should know the language of the body, what it wants to tell to you. Then some mysteries regarding your life can be really resolved. So people, so start making friendship with your body. Um, become familiar with your body, so that the body, the language, body language, or the what it speaks to you, what it wants to tell you in any given moment of life, you will be in a position to hear it and really overcome the mystery of any mystery by talking to your body properly. So that is the first secret Deepak Chopra has discussed in this book. And the secret 2 is fantastic. When I read this book in the year 2004 or 2003, I really couldn't make out, like, he says the secret 2 is, like, the world is in you. Such an authentic secret, where through reading this book, I really, whenever I get confused or whenever I get carried away with external things, I just remind this single statement written in this book: the world is in you. Because we, every individual in their particular lifetime, we are so much conditioned by the saying that we are in the world. That is how we are conditioned. And it is so difficult to really decondition that one aspect which we really unconsciously or mechanically believe it, that what entire school system, entire parenting, entire society conditions every individual on this planet earth believes that we are in the world. But the spiritual secret, the real fact, or the real mystery to get resolved, the real truth is the world is in you, is what every meditator, every spiritual aspirant should really understand. This one facet, one secret, the topmost secret hidden. It was always there in the world. Even in Jesus teachings, he says, even in most of the Torquem Saradarian's work, he says cosmos in man. But we really don't really understand that we always being in the more mechanical state of consciousness, or most of the time being using our senses so externally, we forget a true secret that the world is in you. That is a major shift. If people can really understand, most of the suffering, most of the non-essentials, most of the confusions are because of that. We believe that we are in the world. But the secret discussed in this book is so enlightening and so eye opener. What I can call that, this statement is an eye opener for me. Whenever I get lost through my senses into the external world, one small remembering this small statement or the title of the secret too, the world is in you. Just remembering that statement, I just come out of all the chaos and like something refreshed. I feel so much of newness remembering this statement, the world is in you. So I really want all people to understand and think about this statement, like, how many times in a day, or how many times in a week, or how many times in a month, or how many times in a year, are we functioning from this statement, this secret? Have we really understood this secret authentically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically? Then that gives you more of space to function from, without more attachments, without more suffering. So this is such a bombarding statement, the world is in you. It always reverses my direction. Okay, whenever I get lose my direction in life, I just go to this secret too. Oh, then it gives me an illuminating insight from a spiritual doctor, from a spiritual master. He says the world is in you, world is in you. So reading this concept again and again, again and again, that is where I like, I get so much of energy or so much of things to do, perform in my life, because we are not in the world. The world is in you is what the real starting point of meditation and spirituality is. That is what we forget now and then. We slowly, while even functioning in spiritual organizations, we believe that we are the center of the organization. That is where the entire problem starts. And all problems cannot be resolved because people don't want to resolve the mystery. So the secret, if all people started really understanding, comprehending these 15 insights given by Dr. Deepak Chopra, it just uplifts your consciousness, it uplifts your life, it uplifts the way you work with others, and you can see a dramatic changes in your life once you can really understand these 15 secrets he discussed, which that wisdom was from his total work. He's an 35-40 years experience in mind body medicine. He is a meditator who learned meditation from Maharishi Yogi, and he has literally has written 85 books throughout his lifetime. And he's basically from India. He is a student of medical medicine student in All India Institute of Medical Sciences. So this is what one of the fantastic insight I really love. That is, the world is in you. How many people believe it? How much of contemplation is needed? How much of reflection is needed? Like, anytime you miss the track, I think this insight will see that you will be on track. So he says, to solve the mystery of life requires one commandment. So he says, live like a cell, not your mobile cell, your body cell. So he says that this entire universe, if it is treated as a big body, then every individual who is living now on this earth plane should live like a cell. That will really make everything so interesting. Like, we never torture ourselves. How can God torture it? Okay, so every cell, if it functions so naturally, if every cell is working so organically, functions so naturally, and you don't see anything unhealthy in the entire body, that is how every individual should live on this earth plane. There are two things, like, we have a microscopic view and a telescopic view. With mind we can see the more minute things, and we can see the more macro cosmic things, like, big stars, galaxies, all things can be seen. Now, if world is like microcosm, then there is a macrocosm. So this micro and macrocosm understanding will really solve all aspects of the difficulties every human being is facing on this earth plane. We have two views, microscopic view and macroscopic view. That is what we need to understand. We externalize, we see through our eyes only the external world, we hear the external world, we talk to the external world, we want to touch the objects of the external world. And what is the time every individual is giving to go inside, where the real truth is the world is in you is such a beautiful fact. Even in Bhagavad Gita, uh, Lord Krishna, he shows that world exists in inside to the Arjuna when he shows his Maha Avatar. When he exhibits his Maha Avatar, Lord Krishna, Arjuna sees, once he opens his mouth, he can see the entire universe in him, the world is in him. And it is not a theoretical statement, it is not a theory, but an actual fact where people have forgotten to close their eyes, uh, be in a pause position, stop their daily uh, thinking for external things, and go inside is such a beautiful insight where people should really believe it in. It's a scientific conclusion that world is in you. We need to experience it, we need to experiment and experience and come to, we need to explore it. We need to experience that world is in you, and the world need to, inside world needs to be explored. That is what is the secret to is. The secret to says the world is in you, now it's up to you. And he says everyone is a creator. People who ever have experienced that the world is in you, there is a universe inside me, a galaxy inside me, a cosmos inside me. That is what we need to understand. That is what is discussed in this beautiful concept. And he always speaks about violence happening in the external world. Violence is built into opposition of us versus them. So people who don't believe that there is an inside world, people who are oriented towards external thing, they have a mentality called us versus them. So that externalized phenomenon which creates us versus them is the cause for all violence happening in the world. And people want non-violence to be prevailed and the peace to be prevailed on the earth. Then there is a simple mystery uh, resolving thing. If all people can understand this topmost secret, that everybody, if they can go inside, and in everybody the world is in them, if they understand this beautiful insight, and that is the time where violence will be absent in the external world, and the wars, end of the wars will be there, and peace will be prevailing. Once people understand this small insight, the ageless insight given by all the spiritual teachers, that world is in you, it is such a beautiful secret. Every person should sit and really contemplate on that and understand this insight, and apply it to your life. Then most of the time peace will be prevailing. Okay, this is a beautiful chapter. Being a creator is more important than the whole world. Like, once you understand that there is a world inside there, you are functioning and you are creating your external life from there, it gives you an immense confidence. That will be the solution for entire external life problems. And secret 3 is such a fun and fantastic, like, 4 paths lead to unity. Okay, what are those 4 paths? That is what is discussed in this chapter. He wants everyone to know their feelings authentically. Thinking should be under the guidance of feeling, and actions should be based on thinking and feeling. And whatever we say outside, we need to practically be that. That is what is the foundation of a spiritual life. So feelings, thinking, actions, and being, these are all the 4 beautiful components every individual should understand in themselves. And he says these are the 4 beautiful sentences he has written in the secret 3. Bhakti yoga leads to unity by loving God. That is what Bhakti yoga. People will be asking, sir, which yoga to really practice? If you can really see the principles discussed, all these 4 paths lead to only one source. That is what needs to be understood by each and every individual. People who they think that Bhakti yoga is different. No, Bhakti yoga leads to unity by loving God. But are you loving God that much? That is a personal question again. Again, karma yoga leads to unity through selfless action. Are we really functioning in all our soul service activities selflessly or selfishly? If there is a pinch of selfishness, then it can never be called it as karma yoga. And we hate now and then there is no scope for you to become a bhakti yogi. And Jnana Yoga leads to unity through knowledge. Such a fantastic statement. Uh, Knowledge, by closing our eyes, going inside, or knowledge learned from somebody or learned from some transient things, that is not the permanent knowledge he's talking about. A permanent knowledge gained out of your practice, gained out of your sadhana, gained out of your inner nature. That is what makes the Jnana Yoga so beautiful. So he's speaking about Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and comes the brand new Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga leads to unity through meditation and renunciation. And he says, meditation transcends the other three paths. He clearly says, meditation takes care of everything. Meditation done scientifically, properly, regularly, consistently, then it will transcend present in every moment of daily life. So we need to touch that every moment of life by understanding the third secret. The third secret, as it says, what is the third secret? Four paths lead to unity. What are the four paths? One is Bhakti Yogamu, one is Karma Yogamu, third is Jnana Yogamu, and fourth is Raja Yogamu. So any yoga, like, are you unified inside is the bottom line. Are you functioning as a unit? Are you functioning as an integrated thing? That is what everybody should look into. Then our real life starts, like, uh, a more integrated being can do a better efficient work. That is what is secret 3 is all about. So first secret says mystery is always there and the mystery is real. And the second secret says that world is in you. And the third secret says there are four paths which can make you one. So these beautiful explanations or beautiful uh, wisdom part in this book, these 15 insights, if at all you can remember today after this class, I think this book will have done its own purpose. So secret 4, find again, this is an, like, eye opener. Secret 4, you can see, like, I'm sharing it. Secret 4, what you seek you already are. It means, like, what do you seek? If you want to know mathematics, I don't think you will go to a geography teacher. Okay, people who want to seek the real life meaning, people who want to really understand the real uh, inner faculties, I don't find like people will go to math teacher or geography teacher. What you seek you already are, like, you are talking about meditation, you want to seek meditation, then that interest is already there inside you. You need to just execute it. You go to a meditation teacher, then you'll find it. Okay, this word seeking, seeking is a word often applied to the spiritual path, and many people are proud to call themselves seekers. Often they are the same people who once chased too hard after money, alcohol, or work. With the same addictive intensity they knew, now hope to find God. The problem is that seeking begins with a false assumption. Okay, I don't mean the assumption that materialism is corrupt and spirituality is pure. Yes, materialism can becoming all consuming, but that's not the really important thing. Seeking is doomed because it is a chase that takes you outside yourself, and a seeker is want to go should go inside, as discussed in the secret too. But we can see a lot of people, they seek outside for the solutions, they never go inside for the solutions. That is why their problems increase. That is what he is discussing here. There is a beautiful concept called looking at the people who race around trying to be models of goodness. Someone coined the apt phrase. The phrase is known as spiritual materialism, the transfer of values that work in the material world over to the spiritual world. Now, it is such a beautiful concept, Secret 4, where Deepak Chopra, he says, the spiritual materialism is such a beautiful concept coined. That means, what are all the pitfalls of a seeker? People want to go inside, but mechanically, habitually, they seek outside. So how to overcome it is what he has put so much of light, studying the entire Buddhism aspect, Hinduism aspect. Buddha taught pure teachings, and now we have 5,000 outlets to teach Buddha teachings. Why the original teachings are not there? Why people are distorting it? Why seekers are not benefiting from the teachings of Buddha? That is where he puts a beautiful concept called spiritual materialism, which helped me a lot from the year 2004 to 2025. I really remember all these things applying in my life. These are the spiritual materialism concept is pitfalls of the seeker. We need to spend some time here, because most of our daily spiritual journey problems are related to this. If we can understand the real meaning part and the phenomenon of spiritual materialism, then what we need to seek, why we are unable to do it, is what we can understand by going through this concept called spiritual materialism. Spiritual materialism, pitfalls of the seeker. He discusses 6 things. Okay, knowing where you are going. Really, a seeker should know where he is going, or he is doing it so mechanically. We'll discuss these concepts in detail. And second thing, pitfall of the seeker will be second pitfall will be struggling to get there. And inner journey is never a struggling journey. People with an outlook of how to get a career promotion, they go with the same mindset into the spiritual journey, and they fail there, because the same mindset where people see the entire concrete things, they cannot apply to the abstract things. That is where every seeker fails, because they struggle a lot to get there. And third thing is using someone else map, which will never happen in the spiritual zone. A spiritual journey or going inside is never a linear process, or you cannot use some other's map to go inside yourself. These are the small things every individual should understand, every seeker should understand. And the fourth thing is working to improve yourself. And the fifth one is setting a timetable. You doing a spiritual journey as you are preparing for exam, I think it won't never work. That is one of the biggest pitfall of a spiritual seeker. And the last thing, which is a fantastic thing, where I can see a lot of people uh, is all seekers, like they'll be waiting for a miracle. Like somebody will come, will really solve my problems. Somebody comes, they'll execute a miracle to me so that I'll become that, these. So people will be longing for a miracle. These 6 things are the pitfalls of the seeker from the age time period, age long problems for all people who are trying to seek some wisdom. They fall into these pitfalls. That is why he cautions them, like, spiritual materialism is such a fantastic concept. There's no better way to be genuine seeker than to avoid these pitfalls. That is how he is resolving the secret. how we need to be a better seeker, efficient seeker without any pitfalls. So see, you can see I'm sharing you with all the things. Don't struggle to get there. First thing is, don't know where you are going. He says spiritual growth is spontaneous. The big events come along unexpectedly, and so do the small ones. A single word can open your heart. A single glance can tell you who you really are. Awakening does not happen according to the plan. It's much more like putting together a jigsaw puzzle without knowing the finished picture in advance. The Buddhists have a saying, if you meet the Buddha on the path, kill him, which means if you are following a spiritual script written in advance, bury it. All you can imagine in advance are images, and images are never the same as the goal. Such a beautiful explanation. And next, don't struggle to get there. If there are a spiritual payoff at the end of the trial, like a pot of gold or the key to heaven, everyone would work as hard as possible for the reward. Any struggle would be worth it. But does it help a 2-year-old to struggle to become 3? No, because the process of child development unfolds from within. You don't need a paycheck. You turn into a new person. The same is true for spiritual unfolding. It happens just as naturally as childhood development, but on the plane of awareness rather than in realm of psychology. Wow. And the third thing is, don't follow someone else's map. There was a time when I was certain that deep meditation using one specific mantra for the rest of my life was the key to reaching enlightenment. I was following a map laid down thousands of years ago by venerable sages who belong to India's greatest spiritual tradition. But caution is always required. If you follow someone else's map, you could be training yourself in a fixed way of thinking. Fixed ways, even those developed to spirit, are not as same as being free. You should glean teachings from all directions, keeping true to those that bring progress, yet remain open to changes in yourself. Wow. These things have really helped me in my this 25 years of journey. And the next one, don't make this a self-improvement project. Self-improvement is real. People get stuck in bad places that they can learn to get out of. Depression, loneliness, and insecurity are tangible experiences that can be improved. But if you seek to reach God or enlightenment because you want to stop being depressed or anxious, if you want to greater self-esteem or less loneliness, your search may never end. This area of understanding is not cut and dried. Some people feel tremendous self-improved as their awareness expands, but it takes a strong sense of self to confront the obstacles and challenges that lie on the path. If you feel weak or fragile, you may feel weaker and more fragile when you confront the shadow energies within. Expanded awareness comes at a price. You have to give up your limitations. For anyone who feels victimized, that limitation is often so stubborn that spiritual progress becomes very slow. So what he means to say is, make it more practical in your life, being grounded. And the next thing is, don't set yourself a timetable. I have met countless people who gave us an spirituality because they did not reach their goals fast enough. I gave it 10 years. What can I do? Life is only so long. I am moving on. More likely, they devoted just 1 year or a month, to being on the path. And then the weekend warriors fell away, discouraged by lack of results. So for meditation, for book reading, for doing Sajjana Sangatyamu, this is what I could see. People come with emotional excitement. After 2 days, their excitement is gone. After 2 months, their excitement is gone. After 1 year, their excitement is gone. That is why staying in a spiritual path for an amount of 30 years, 40 years, he will prove you, the future will prove you that you are a spiritual seeker or you are just emotionally got excited. And the next thing, don't wait for a miracle. It really does not matter how much you define miracle, whether it is the sudden appearance of perfect love, a cure for life threatening disease, anointment for a great spiritual leader, or permanent everlasting bliss. A miracle is letting God do all the work. It separates the spiritual supernatural world from this world with the expectation that one day the spiritual supernatural world will notice you. Since there is only one reality, your task is to break through boundaries of division and separation. Watching and waiting for a miracle keeps the boundaries up. You are ever at a remove from God, connected to Him by wishful thinking. So please think about this statement also. These are the things which will stop you from falling into uh, distracting your seeking ship. Okay, so how to seek, what is real seeking. Okay, uh, before that we had a concept of pitfalls of the seeker. Then he gives a 7-point formula to be how to be a real seeker of meditation, or a real seeker of to seek that world is in you. Meeting the silent witness, how to seek within. First thing is follow the flow of awareness. Second, don't resist what's happening inside. Third thing, open yourself to the unknown. Fourth, don't censor or deny what you feel. Fifth, reach beyond yourself. Sixth, be genuine, speak your truth. Seventh, let the center be your home, real home. So if you can really understand these 7 things, our seekership, our meditation sessions will be without distraction, without be stress. We won't fall into the stress and will not have spiritual fever if we'll be the genuine seeker. That is what the real secret force says. Such a fantastic thing. And now we move on to the thing called the cause of suffering is unreality. Okay, such an expansive insight. We always believe that we create reality. Okay, but the foundational insight, okay, the foundational insight is like the cause of suffering is unreality. The amount of unreality we have, we project, that is directly proportional to our suffering. And people, through meditation, through swajaya, through sajjana sangatyam, through service, through so much of atma seva, uh, still we suffer, means there is some amount of unreality inside us, and we need to study the reality science. And this insight unlocks, like, how much of reality we are in connection with, or how much of unreality we are hiding inside ourselves. Okay, the cause of suffering is unreality. So the effect, in so much of unreality things happening around us, means people are functioning from the unreality zone. And people go inside, if they do meditation, if they really understand their all these insights revealed to them through so much of beautiful wisdom from such authors, and connected with the source, then we need to, if people are connected to reality, then there should be no suffering. That is what needs to be discussed. What are the steps that lead to suffering? What are those steps that lead to suffering and unreality? So why we are so much hooked to unreality and why we are suffering? Because the first thing is, people, individuals, they are overlooking actual facts. People never see what is happening. People overlook what will happen after 1 year, which stock will get me money, okay, which area real estate will get me more money. People are bound to think like that because they overlook the actual facts. That is why we function from unreality. That is what is the cause of all our suffering. And saying, second thing, confront the source of the suffering. The first step being a willingness to look at what is actually happening. And again, third thing is adapting to a negative perception. These are all the things leads us to suffering, is so much discussed in this chapter. And he says reality is perception. Reality is whatever you identify with. Okay. And comparing yourself to others is such a big thing. That is what leads us to so much of suffering. As long as you compare yourself to others, your suffering will persist as a way of fitting in and cementing the suffering experience. Therefore, it enters into every relationship based on awareness. Okay, again, he discusses the form of suffering. The first thing is not knowing what's real and getting trapped in unreality. That is what is the first klesha. Second, grasping and clinging to the unreal. All objects, all property issues, people cling and grasp to it. That is why they can't go to the reality part. And being afraid of the unreal and recoiling from it. This is what is the cause for all sufferings. And identifying with an imaginary self. And the fifth most important, why people are so much suffering, is everyone has a fear of death. These five kleshas, if people can really understand, they can have a clarity, not confusion, to what to seek, how to seek, when to seek, why to seek. So the fifth insight is such a beautiful insight. Hope you enjoyed it and you go through these things, because uh, I have more things to speak. I'll go a bit faster. The sixth secret is such an bombarding insight. Freedom tames the mind. Love your mind. Deepak Chopra says, love your mind. And I've seen so many people, they think that mind is their enemy. Okay, through so beautiful with so much practical insights is this, and one of the important thing, every person wants freedom. And we have so much of slavery mind, slavery based emotions, slavery habits, slavery way of behavior. And people want to taste freedom, then understand this concept called freedom tames the mind. Okay, this is the sixth secret. Beautiful things explained in this chapter, this insight. And slowly you can see on the screen what I could share. And the seventh insight is such a bombarding, because all people say, sir, our past lives important, our future lives important. What I could say about past lives and future progressions is, there should be an understanding for a spiritual aspirant that every life is spiritual. A baby soul lifetimes are as spiritual as a young soul lifetimes. A baby soul lifetimes, young soul lifetimes are as spiritual as a mature soul lifetime. And all these lifetimes are as spiritual as a old soul lifetimes. And all these lifetimes are as spiritual as the transcendental soul lifetimes. And people get so confused, like, I was spiritual, now I am materialistic, can I become spiritual? No, the entire lifetimes, if people understand reincarnation concept, please sit with this concept, Secret 7, discussed by Deepak Chopra. It really gave me so much of pure light into my life, because he says every life is spiritual. So there is no point in comparing all these things. We are in a scale of evolution. There are no divisions and no better and worse people. Every life is spiritual. So we need to live that life totally, is what the real passion should be about. Every life is spiritual. Please go through this concept. Okay. Secret 7 is such a bombarding concept. He discussed so many things, and one more fantastic thing which really helped me in throughout my journey was, I was sitting with this secret for most of the time, because so many issues come to your personal life. You want to meditate, you want to study, you want to do some service, but some problem arises because not having understanding about this beautiful insight. This eighth insight says that evil is not your enemy. If you understand this insight, 60% of your time is saved in your spiritual journey. Only through the teachings of this Deepak Chopra, Jesus Christ teachings, I could understand this concept that evil is not your enemy. So many problems, so many people come into your life, they create so many issues, and you started reacting towards them, and you fall trapped to that. If we want to really go with our inner journey authentically, this thing should be understood basically, that evil is not your enemy. Nothing is enemy, which anything which stops your journey is not your enemy. Evil is not your enemy. You should know how to surf it. So this is one more important insight everyone should really understand, because that interests more people. Okay. What is shadow? Okay, all these things. uh, Now secret 10, he says death makes life possible. He makes it so simple. And if people want to really understand life better, live life better, one needs to understand death. If people should die for their past, they'll be alive now. If we die for the last moment, we'll be fresh this moment. And you want to be fresh in the next moment, you should die for the preceding moment. Death makes life possible. Such a fantastic insight. That is why, like, meditators and people, if they can really want to take a jump in their understanding, people should read and know the death process more authentically, through experience, through study, going to the hospitals, seeing the death process every day. Well, one fine day, even we are going to leave the body. So if you have that understanding of death, then life becomes more purposeful. That is why he emphasizes a beautiful insight, a top secret to live, to resolve the pain or the fear issues. One needs to understand a beautiful insight discussed as death makes life possible. So how much of death fear we have, like, really we are not suffering because of death fear, is what one needs to answer. And secret 11, the universe the universe thinks through you. And we think that we are sitting here and we are thinking about the universe. That is why we get drained. You go inside, okay, you meditate, okay, you understand something, and that is what is the reality aspect, that source, the inner self, the inner things give you some beautiful ideas, and they are assimilated here, they are digested here, then they should come and we need to express it. Why we are here in this life is because once you go inside, we connect with the universe, it speaks to us, it speaks to everybody. It is an animation, like, you go inside, the universe is there, the world is there, the galaxy is there, it gives you something, you understand this through your brain, mind, and you express through your mouth, and we need to understand that the universe thinks through you. That is what you need to do in one lifetime. We are not here to think about the universe. The universe thinks through you, is what is an like a big shift in one's spiritual journey, if they understand that insight more properly. And secret 12 in the book of secrets says, there is no time but now. It's a fantastic concept. He says, the misuse of time, being anxious of the future, reliving in the past, regretting our old mistakes, reliving yesterday, anticipating tomorrow, racing against the clock, brooding over impermanency, resisting change. These are all the things, because a seeker or a person or an individual needs to have a understanding about this beautiful insight, that there is no time except this now. Then our inner clock will start working properly, and because the inner clock, it becomes, okay, that is the 12th thing, okay. And the 13th insight in book of secrets says, you are truly free when you are not a person. Understand this insight. You can be really free if you are a soul. You are truly free if you are not a person, if you are not a personality. And people who can really do regular meditation, they can really understand this concept. And arguments arise between a person and a person. And a person who is free, not being a person, will never have an argument with another soul. And if two people are having arguments or problem between each other, one of them should not be a free person. If both are free, if both are not the person, then their problem is solved. That is why the importance of soul science or spiritual science or meditation science is so much needed for this world now, because you are truly free when you are not a person. If every prime minister, if every president of every country knows this insight, then everybody functions from a soul level, because they are free, not being a person. Then all the problems existing in this world uh, will be solved within no time. They need to sit and understand this beautiful insight. You are truly free when you are not a person. Think about this. And the 14th insight says, the meaning of life is everything. The meaning of life is everything. Everything is just another way to embrace the infinite range of possibilities. Understanding changes the whole picture of reality. So, when you become nothing, you come to know everything. Now, what does everything is laid down in this beautiful book called Book of Secrets by Deepak Chopra as 15 insights or revelations. 15th secret says, everything is pure essence. Everything is pure consciousness. And that is what every spiritual aspirant should understand. So these are the things, okay. then finally, with all these 15 insights, what Deepak Chopra says is you will come to know who am I, where did I come from, why am I here. You will get answers for these three questions. These three questions are like an eternal questions. And with awareness, we can say, who am I? The answer will be, you are the totality of the universe acting through a human nervous system. That is the answer. And where did I come from? You came from a source that was never born and will never die. That is the source. And why am I here? To create the world in every moment. That is why you are here. These are the answers for these eternal questions. Deepak Chopra ji answered in a beautiful way in this book, The Book of Secrets. And that is how our hidden dimensions will be revealed. And all secrets will be, all mysteries will be understood by every person, and your perception increases, your perspective increases with so much of experience of these insights. And through regular meditation, our life will be okay, the answer for all secrets which are there in this nature. That is why I advise every person who is there attending this thing to reread this book, Book of Secrets by Deepak Chopra. It is such an fantastic 15 principles book, which I have read 15 years back. Even till today, I just go through this book, all these 15 insights whenever needed. These things, practically, these insights written by the spiritual scientists throughout this world, this is what is making my spiritual journey a bit more easy, much smoother, and and, and it gives every individual a lot of contentment. Okay, because these are reality based insights. So I'm so happy that, like, today I had an opportunity, because uh, introducing these 15 insights from this book, uh, opportunity given by uh, this group, I tried my level best to introduce these 15 insights, and I'm happy that now more people are attending and knowing these insights, uh, and live your life in a better way. Okay, more, and know the answers for all your questions. And please go through these 15 insights again and again. Thank you for this session, and I think we'll continue with some meditation or question answer sessions. We'll continue. Okay, we'll continue with that. Or you want to meditate, we can now meditate for 20 minutes, so that all these things we can really properly digest whatever you have listened up to now, all these 15 insights from Book of Secrets. I think if someone plays some beautiful music, we'll try to meditate.
Yeah, sure, sir. I'll play some soft music.
Yeah.
Will you be talking in between? Will you be guiding?
No, I just describe the process of meditation, and I'll be in meditation.
Okay, okay. So I'll
So,
play a
but
soft music.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
So be relaxed, okay? Be aligned, be more integrated. Okay, be relaxed wherever you're sitting. Just clap your hands. Uh, Please remove your specs if you are wearing anything. So observe your natural breath, how we intake inhalations, how we exhale. This process needs to be felt. We need to feel our breath, not think about our breath. Like, just see how naturally we are taking the breath in, and it is touching the entire inner body, and how the breath is going out. Feel that. Okay, don't sit and think about what is breath doing. No, stop that thinking and be start feeling. Then you will better meditate in a better way. So close your eyes, clasp your hands, be relaxed, start observing your breath.
Sir,
Inhale.
is the volume okay? Music volume? Thank you, sir.
Last 1 minute. Yeah. Uh, s- uh, s- yeah. Yeah. Slowly open your eyes and be with yourself for 30 seconds. Okay. Uh, uh, hope you enjoyed this music and meditation session. So now, anyone has any question regarding this aspect of Book of Secrets? I think we can have a question answer session for 10-15 minutes. I think that would be much proper. Like, people have any doubt regarding uh, any one of the thing, we can talk about that. Question regarding this aspect of.
Actually, sir, we don't have any questions on the YouTube live.
Okay.
Yeah. The most wonderful thing that I liked that you shared was that all you have to, there are so many dimensions inside us.
Yeah.
So that we always we search on the outer side for dimensions, and we always when we read different types of books, we always say ki third dimension, first, second, third, and then we go on saying ninth and 10th and 14th and 1,44,000 dimensions and so on. But the main thing, it was a very wonderful thing that you shared. Ki first, we have to see our inner dimensions,
Yeah.
and that is a very helpful thing.
Yeah.
That is a very important thing as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So even throughout my book reading journey, other than Ouspensky, nobody gave clarity regarding dimensions and planes. I have seen so many people talking about dimensions and planes. Even I was asking each and everybody who speaks about those words, but nobody defines the dimension or a plane. So anybody who have done so much of clarity research on the both the things like dimensions and planes, he was Mr. P.D. Ouspensky. In all his books, he was the person who defined those things more appropriately, more simplified manner. It was P.D. Ouspensky, and most of the people speak about dimensions and planes without really having any uh, practical experience over that. So all dimensions, all planes are nothing else but they are the frequency spectrum. So those things we can't use it inappropriately is one needs to know. So what is a dimension? What is a plane? How many dimensions we have inside us? Is what it makes a real journey different without knowing the proper definitions of the words. That is one of the most confusing thing. People use more loaded words. So like I prefer, like, even every word what we use, at least we should have the best definition to be understood. That is a path, a real path, because we can't use words mechanically and say that we are doing soul service. Like, if you want to do a soul service, first you should know the meaning part of it. Meditation, the primary objective of meditation is like it should give meaning to life. It should add meaning to life. It should not make things more vague. So once we are talking about meditation or realities or doing service, we need to have that preparedness by defining the terms what we use. And I thought I learned about these dimensions and planes from P.D. Ouspensky, a Tertium Organum book. He wrote everything regarding what are dimensions, what is the inner constitution of a human being, is what even Deepak Chopra speaks about, like all emotions, intuitions, physical aspects, awareness aspects, and what are the higher self aspects. All these things are on the energy scale, or on the consciousness scale, or on the frequency scale. So every culture, every author, depending on their background, they use those particular terminology to define their wisdom.
Yeah, exactly, sir. Thank you so much for a wonderful session and wonderful explanation. I have not read Deepak Chopra, but I have seen some of his videos, and they are just simply awesome. And it is a practical knowledge about the simple way of living the life, and how you can just transform your life in small with inculcating small things, and yeah, implementing them in your day to day course and everything. So and he is a world renowned master as well, so he has wonderfully written some of the uh,
Best books.
yeah, wonderful books he has written.
And even there is a book called Book of Secrets by Osho Rajneesh, that is Vigyan Bhairava Tantra.
Yeah.
Most of the people think that whenever we speak of Book of Secrets, they think that we are telling that. Even that book is fantastic. That 112 techniques, the conversation between Shiva and Parvati, Vijnana Bhairava Tantra is Book of Secrets. But this is like, fresh perspective. I enjoyed this Book of Secrets by Deepak Chopra, because he's a hub. Deepak Chopra, why I read Deepak Chopra? Because he's a hub for all the people, and he is in contact with all the masters. Everyone sends their literature to Deepak Chopra for a review. So he knows what's happening throughout the spiritual domain, and he makes it so simple and so practical, and upgraded version of every concept. That is why I read him. I read his articles. I just follow him through his website or through books. uh,
Yes, so thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful book sharing. I really feel that our viewers would have enjoyed the session as well. And this will be more and more viewed. Those who won't be have those who have not been able to see just now, as the videos will be uploaded afterwards, also they would be surely able to have the access to all these wisdom that you have shared. And as you have shared the PPTs as well, so that becomes more of a easy for us to understand and to read and listen to you as well. So thank you so much for coming here on this platform.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the Swadhyaya Yoga team, and thank you, sir. Tomorrow also we are meeting 6 p.m. Sharp, so please please tune in, everyone. Himangi Belsare from Pune signing off. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.